Hi, my name's Angela and I've been a Christian for I think almost as long as I can remember. I've certainly believed in God from a very early age, and I remember God answering my prayers when I was very young, specifically praying for certain things and Him giving me an answer. And as I've grown up and as I've studied and the things that I've read, I've always believed in a God who made this world. I can't imagine how this world could have been made any other way. The complexity of creation and the awesomeness of the universe, how huge it is, but also how precise it is. The more that I studied at university, the more I read, the more I thought, yes, this has to all have been made by God. So my own personal experience of God began with that picture really of Him being really amazing and huge. And it was harder for me, I think, to think of Him as somebody very personal and close to me. So I remember thinking as a child that God was somebody who I needed to be quite in awe of and almost afraid, but I'd been brought up knowing that He was a really good God, but that definitely there was something that I had to do to make sure that I was okay with Him. And I grew up believing that I had to believe in Jesus in order to be okay with God and to escape hell and separation from God, and those things were quite important in my childhood and really did give me a picture of God in a certain way. And all through my life, really, that has been quite an issue for me, in that I knew that God was somebody to be feared, somebody very holy, somebody really amazing and massive, and I knew that I should and could have a personal relationship with Him. And I knew the Bible, I knew that it said that He loved me. I understood that Jesus had died for me to make it okay for me to be right with God, and I did take that very seriously. But it's actually only been in the last few years that I've understood that God actually does love me, and I find it to be really overwhelming, actually. Something that has really changed just my thinking about myself and about other people, just my outlook and perspective on life, and how wonderful it is to know the love of God. I can't really say how that's happened in one little instance. There was an instance when I was 19 when I absolutely decided I wasn't going to follow this God anymore because He wasn't really close and I didn't want Him interfering in the way that I wanted to live my life. I felt it wasn't real. I felt I was just following something that had been in my childhood, and so I did deliberately turn my back on God, and that was just such an extraordinary thing that happened, because really He only allowed me to do that for about 3 weeks, and in those 3 weeks I was in turmoil and I was fighting God. And at the end of that time, I heard Him speak to me very clearly. I can't describe it any more than that, really, other than it being like a voice and just the clarity of something outside myself speaking into my life and saying, no, this is the way I want you to go. And that was a really important thing for me, because it was this big God actually speaking to little me and saying, you know what, I actually do want you. I'm interested in your life and I want to hold on to you personally. And I think when I look back on that now, 20 years later, I think that's amazing to me. I often stop and think back to that time when I was 19 and think where my life could have been headed and where it could be now, and just how grateful and awestruck I am that the God who made the universe would actually want to have me and be interested in me and save my life and lead my life into something amazing, into a relationship with Him, which has developed then over these years, over these past 20 years. There's just been this growing sense of God's love and interest in me personally that has been just fantastic to me, and I couldn't imagine living any other way than knowing this God and having him in my life, directing me, speaking to me, always asking God to speak to me. I always want to have that reality of the supernatural in my life, and not just to be looking at what I can see, understanding that faith is something that is outside of that, beyond what I can see and touch. And so grateful to this God, and so excited really about what the future has. I feel so grateful for what God has done, and just think that it gets better and better. In your relationship with God as a Christian is just, it's just nothing like it.